What's going on, guys? My name is Akhil, and in this video I want to go over the topic of how to stop caring what other people think. Look, to feel accepted is a universal human desire. I mean, fitting into groups and wanting to gain that trust and respect from our peers is what we yearn for. That need to belong is embedded in our DNA. And people, that's completely normal. But then, sometimes, that same need takes center stage and what others think about us becomes way more important than what we think about ourselves. And that's where the issue lies. Now, we care more about someone's opinion of us than our own. And that's when we start carefully picking out what to wear to the gym to make sure we look good to other gym goers. Or we beat ourselves up after meeting a group of strangers, running through everything we said, worried that the group is gonna think we aren't smart or funny enough. And then you find yourself posting only the best picture out of the 300 selfies we took, and then throw on a nice bright filter to get the most likes to prove to ourselves that we're good looking and likable. We're living in other people's heads. And what does that do? It only makes us start judging ourselves more harshly. It makes us uncomfortable in our own bodies, start doubting our values and beliefs, and makes us feel apologetic for being ourselves. And next thing you know, you find yourself falling deeper into the rabbit hole of feeling inauthentic, not good enough, not likable enough, not smart enough, and not pretty enough. But that shit. Look, the cold hard truth is, other people's opinions of us are none of our business. Their opinions have nothing to do with us and everything to do with them, their past, their expectations, their likes and their dislikes. Look, I could go and stand on stage to speak on any topic. Some people will hate what I'm wearing, others will love it. Some members of the audience might think that I'm an idiot and I have no idea what I'm talking about, while others will respect what I have to say. And some of these people will even hate me because I remind them of their uncle, while others will feel compassion towards me because I remind them of their brother. But no matter what it is, every single one of them will get the exact same me. I'm no different from the second I walked up on that stage to the minute that I leave. I will do my best and be the best I can be in that moment, but people's opinions of me are always gonna vary. And that has nothing to do with me and everything to do with them. Look, caring what others think is attaching yourself to an outcome you simply have no control over. You don't control people's reactions and opinions, same way they don't control how you respond to them. Alright, here are a few things that I've learned over time. The negative criticisms and judgment someone makes is really about them and not you. How we judge others is how we judge ourselves. Look, think about it like this. If you measure your life by your family relationships, then you'll ultimately measure others by the same standards, how close they are to their family. If they're distant from their family or don't call home enough, you'll probably judge them as deadbeats, irresponsible, and ungrateful because you believe that just because you're really close to your family, you assume everybody else is. So when you meet that one person who isn't, you start thinking that something is wrong with them, and thus, the judgment begins. Or let's say if you measure your life by how much fun and partying you can have, then you'll start measuring other people by the same standard, how much fun and partying they have. If they prefer to stay home and scroll through TikTok all weekend, then you'll probably see them as inhibited, scared of the world, too introverted, and lame. Notice how there's a trend going on here. Mark Manson, who wrote the famous book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a says that the yardstick we use for ourselves is a yardstick that we use for the world. And that's very true. I've come to realize that the people that take the time to judge or criticize me aren't really showing me how they feel about me, but more so a reflection of how they feel about themselves. A lot of times, people will openly criticize and judge a beautiful woman because they're either intimidated by her beauty or self-conscious of their lack of beauty. They feel shitty about themselves, so they want to fling bile toward other people to try to break them down to make themselves feel a little bit better. Alright, another thing I realized is that nobody really cares. There was a saying that goes, in my 20s, I worried myself sick wondering what people thought about me. In my 40s, I didn't give a flying F what people thought about me. And in my 60s, I realized nobody was thinking about me. Look, we're really not that special. We go through our days thinking about how other people might be judging us. But the truth is, they're probably thinking the exact same thing. It's sad but the simple truth that the average human filters their world through their own ego. Meaning, most things that they think of are relating to me or my. Sean Kim, who wrote an article on Lifehacker, used the example of watching performers hustling for some change in a New York City subway train. I mean, in all honesty, we gotta learn something from these performers because these guys are the epitome of not giving a single Sean actually took the time to watch how other people reacted. Rather than watching the actual performance, most people were really just looking around to see how other people reacted. If people were laughing, they would start laughing too. But if they saw that people weren't paying attention, they would also pay no mind. Think about that. Even when given the opportunity to judge someone, people are still thinking about how others would perceive them. Now, the last thing I realized is that you can't please everybody. Look, don't waste your time trying to get everybody to like you because it's impossible and it's unrealistic. Look, be authentic to your true identity, meaning following your own dreams and your own passions and just being yourself. When you're a people pleaser, the need to please others means molding yourself into what others want. And at that point, you lose your identity. You simply can't live up to everyone's expectations. There will always be people, no matter what you say or how you treat them, that will always judge you. And I say, instead of worrying about the people that don't like you, focus on being a better person for the people that do. Spend your time and energy living an awesome life and using your talents, gifts, and abilities to make the world and the people around you better. Start standing up for what you truly believe in. Values, quirky hobbies, career choices, beliefs, opinions, anything for that matter. You're gonna have people that disagree with you anyway, so why not express how you truly feel? I've learned that it's better to be loved by a few people you care about than to be liked by everybody. And these are family, friends, your spouse. These are people that love you for who you are. Look, people who don't like you in the first place still won't like you after you make a change or an effort. So why take time out of your precious life to change for someone you either don't know or don't care about? All right, so those are just some things that I've learned in the past 5 to 10 years. But I know what you're really here for. You want to ask, but Akhil, how do I stop caring what other people think of me? All right, number one is know your values. Look, before anything, you need to know what's important to you in life, what you truly value, and what you're ultimately aiming for. Look, once you know who you really are, what you like, and what matters to you the most, what other people think of you will start to significantly become less important and almost irrelevant. Look, instead of focusing on another person's perception and feeling embarrassed about what others think, focus on whether or not you're truly living up to what you love and what makes you you. Alright, let's say you have a passion of collecting stamps, which obviously lets me know that you value something about it. Maybe it's the nostalgia, or maybe when you were a kid, your grandpa gave you his favorite stamp and you've been collecting them ever since. Well, either way, if you value your own opinions, then you're never gonna try to hide this quirk you have no matter what anybody else thinks of it. One of my favorite YouTube channels, Charisma on Command, uses the example of approaching a girl that you want to ask out. Thinking about what other people will say will probably deter you from even attempting to walk up to this girl. I mean, think about it. You gotta worry about people probably laughing at you for sounding cheesy or flat out just making fun of you for getting rejected. But what if instead you just focus on the values that you set for yourself? What if prior to talking to the girl, you had values of being more courageous and being more upfront about your feelings instead of holding them back this time? Well, in that case, you'd still go and talk to the girl. Now, whether you get rejected or not doesn't matter anymore because you lived up to your values at the end of the day. You felt like you did the right thing despite getting rejected, and no matter if people laugh or mock you, it won't affect you because you're proud of yourself. Look, if you value someone else's opinion more than your own, you're gonna start living somebody else's version of your life, and you'll never truly be able to follow the path that you've set for yourself. All right, number two is to understand that you're doing your best. So look, still have actually, high standards of myself, and I always felt like I could have done better. So when I didn't meet those expectations, my inner bully would come out and start beating the crap out of me. And look, nobody's perfect. I mean, how many times have you kicked yourself down because you couldn't achieve the body goals in the time that you've set? Or you tore yourself down because you went on Instagram and saw all these young successful entrepreneurs, so now you're judging yourself, thinking that you're broke, talentless, and unproductive. It happens to all of us, but you have to take a step back and have the self-realization that you're working on it and you're doing the best that you can do, and that's all that matters. All right, I want to give a random example. Now, I'm a very social person, so every chance I get, I'm always trying to spark up a conversation with another individual, whether it be at a coffee shop, concert, or my workplace. Well, I remember months ago that I was at a record store in New York, and one thing about me is that I love music. I could talk hours and hours on the subject. Well, another customer came in and walked up to the counter to talk to the salesperson and asked something along the lines of, "Hey, I really like listening to R&B. What are some good suggestions for some groovy R&B music?" And that was a trigger for me. So I felt the need to chime in that maybe he should consider listening to Anderson .Paak or Thundercat or the internet. So that customer looked over his shoulder, seemed unimpressed with the unsolicited advice, and just went right back to talking to the salesperson. Now listen, the old me would have taken that to heart and felt horrible the rest of the day, thinking how this guy probably thinks that I'm an idiot, rude, and just flat out disrespectful for butting into his conversation uninvited. But honestly, let's just take a second to look at what I had in that moment. Look, number one is I had the urge to be helpful, coming from my values of kindness and compassion. Number two is I had a genuine interest in the conversation. Number three is I had an impression that my feedback would be well received and would be somewhat helpful. And number four is I had a deep desire to connect with another individual on shared interests. I did the best I could with what I had. Look, because I know that my intentions were pure, I wasn't intending to be rude, but rather an intention to make a new friend. I have no regrets. I also understand that his opinion of me doesn't matter because I was living in tune with my values. So now I could leave that record store feeling good about myself because I did what I could, and it just so happens that the individual didn't feel the same. And look, that's totally okay. You move on. All right, number three is to surround yourself with people who are optimistic. Look, one of the best ways I know to build confidence and motivation actually is to surround myself with people who are optimistic. Be around people who are self-assured and live life without compromising their core values, because those same people will rub off on you quickly. I have a friend, let's call him John. He's been a pretty big influence on me. I've watched him countless times openly voicing his opinions on controversial topics. Now, despite disagreeing with his views, people still admired him for being direct and honest, and that type of attitude and confidence will wear off onto you. Watching someone who lives freely like that will influence you to want to do the same, and the same goes for the opposite. Purge your life of negative, toxic, and judgmental people. If your friends have a knack of starting drama, then avoid them. If your circle of friends have a tendency to tear you down or constantly judge you for the girls that you date or how much money you have in your pocket, then separate yourself from them. Look, you can never stop people from being negative and overcritical, but you can always choose to ignore them and surround yourself with people with the same attitude as you do. All right, number four is to let go of the idea of perfection. Everybody makes mistakes. Look, even if you're living in tune with your values and even if you're doing the best that you can do, you will still make mistakes, and that is totally okay. I mean, that's what makes us human at the end of the day. Look, we're all unique in a way, and we have to understand that. Be true to yourself. I mean, look, it sounds cliche, but it's so crucial to be honest, unrestrained, and as transparent as you can be, because that's how you're truly going to connect with the people that matter to you the most. Well, think about it like this. When you seek advice from a motivational speaker or you listen to a musical artist, you find yourself relating to people who are authentic, who openly display their insecurities, and who don't hide their mistakes and failures in life. You never relate to people who try to portray themselves as perfect, who try so hard to be the embodiment of a perfect human being, because you know it's fake. You can see the facade from a mile away. You need to shake the feeling that if you get things just right, you'll be loved and admired. Trust me, I've tried that and it doesn't work. I've come to realize that it's better to just be me unapologetically. Find a purpose in life, a passion, and stick to it. People you meet and places you go will all go through a filter of that purpose. By simply being the real and authentic you, you'll naturally just filter out all the negative and toxic people, and you'll start to attract yourself to the people that are just like you. All right, number five is to understand that this is your one life. There are no do-overs. This is gonna sound a little morbid, but no matter who you are and the unique experiences that you bring to the table, all of our stories are gonna end the same. Look, death is inevitable. As uncomfortable and morbid as it may be to acknowledge this fact, it can also be pretty liberating. When you can put things into perspective and realize that we only get one life, it makes it easier to stop giving a fuck about other people's opinions and stay true to yourself and only focus on your passion and purpose in life. Rachel Hollis, who is a New York Times bestseller and motivational speaker, sat down with Ed Milet in an interview and had a quote that said, "You live your life terrified of failures, terrified to try, terrified that you're gonna get it wrong because your mom is gonna approve or your friends from high school on Facebook are gonna judge you." But it's crazy because those same people that you're so terrified of their opinion of you will never have to live with the regret. It doesn't matter what they think. When you're 70 years old and you're sitting on the couch, you're not gonna give a shit what Emily said 50 years ago or the doubts and fears that your mom and dad had about you pursuing your passion because they never got to pursue theirs. You'll come to realize that it was all of their insecurities and fears being thrown at you to hold you back because they couldn't do it. And you know what happens then? You'll resent them for the rest of your life, and you'll start blaming them for holding you back as the excuse that you've created in your head, when in reality, you held yourself back because you were too scared to be judged. So I'm begging you to get up and go do something. Go find a passion, go find a purpose in your life and start chasing it, so that at least if you keep falling on your face for the next 10 years, then you're still in your 30s living a life that you've always deserved. I'm telling you, and I'll say it a million times if I have to, you're so worried about people judging you, when in reality, by the time you stop caring, it's gonna be too late. You'll be too old by then, and then you're gonna start living the rest of your life in regret and resentment. And I promise you, you think now an irrelevant judgment by some random person is the worst thing in the world for you, but living the rest of your life in resentment and regret will destroy you. Look, the world is already full of people who obey the status quo, but notice how it's the people who don't give a single who are the ones that change the world and leave an impact. Look, be the latter. Be fearless like you once were as a child. Always stand up for your values and what you believe in, and start living the life that you want for yourself. Hope you guys found this video to be somewhat helpful. Hit the like button to help the channel out, and also subscribe, because I try to put out new videos every week, and it also supports the channel and it supports me, okay? My name is Akhil. You guys have been awesome. Always feel free to send me questions, or if you have any advice, in my email and Instagram DMs, which is all in the description below, okay? And what else do I have to say? Oh yeah, you only get one life, so start living it the way you want, all right? See you guys next week. Peace.